Ravensword Shadowlands is a complicated game. On one hand, it's definitely one of the most poorly made and laughable action RPGs ever produced. Given the genre is generally buggy and unintentionally humorous, that's saying something. On the other hand, it's so broken and crazy that I enjoyed myself thoroughly, and it was a thrilling journey. We're going to talk about all the bad anyway though, or at least as much of it as I can. The game's an open-world action RPG with mechanics similar to Skyrim, but a lot more broken and occasionally just plain non-indicative. The combat is a mess, with the AI frequently getting stuck on walls and being easily cheesed with ranged weaponry. The difficulty slider is laughable, all it seems to do is increase or decrease the amount of damage enemies deal with no other changes. Enemy patterns try to encourage thoughtful approaches if you're so inclined, but you can just run around everyone most of the time. The hunger systems are pointless when so many enemies drop meat, and meat is so cheap to purchase anyway. There's no point to the morality system since being bad has no feasible gain. Graphical glitches are rampant, almost nothing in the game works as intended, and all of its mechanics and various other elements are haphazardly sloshed together in a pot of gooey, gunky stink fart. But because the game is such a mess, it also has some spectacular insanity. Ravensword Shadowlands is a game where you can ride a pterosaur up to a carnotaur and blast it with a blunderbuss. It's a game where a dark elf prince takes your gear and challenges you to a one-on-one duel, but you can just put the gear back on and shoot him in the face instead. It's a game where you can jump around the entire map and climb sheer cliff faces with ease because the developer was foolish enough to give you a jump stat. You can complete almost the entire main quest out of order with easily performed sequence breaks. I found an entire valley that seems to be part of an incomplete quest area. You can leave a jail cell and then close the door on the guard behind you, ensuring he's trapped instead. If you're here to laugh at absurdity and revel in this utterly unpolished mess, then you're probably going to have a great time. Is there anything about the game that's genuinely good though? I mean, sure, a little bit. There are a lot of side quests and they're organic enough to feel like a natural part of the game world. You can stumble onto a daughter who's trying to flee from her abusive father, or a princess whose castle is under siege, or even run errands for guild houses, all completely optional. And secondly, I do appreciate that you can dodge enemy projectiles, and that your own projectiles actually have to strike an enemy to deal damage. It raises the skill ceiling just a bit, but overall, this game is insane. Nearly nothing about it makes sense, it's so buggy that it surpasses surrealism, and I'm struggling to think of anything else that came out right. Action RPGs may be broken and goofy on average, but this one is the most broken and most goofy. This is barely a product, it feels like an ARG social experiment. I love it, and it's awful.